Welcome to our SHOARS training for DHSP Partners. We'll get started in just a few minutes, but to begin, please type a good afternoon in the chat as we head into these early evening hours here on November 18th. So go ahead, go. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Red Project One. Good afternoon to you. Willis, good afternoon. I'll say this announcement a couple of times, but if you are an ASL interpreter that needs video access, please reach out in the chat and let us know as soon as possible so we can get you that video access. Hello, DW. Toya, good afternoon. So happy you're all here to join us. Oh, well, Heidi, live from Traverse City. I just spent my Labor Day in Traverse. I have to say it is absolutely what a wonderful town. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. Good afternoon, Joyce. Patricia, good afternoon. Happy Thursday to you too, Nicole. Once again, if you are an ASL interpreter that needs video access, please reach out in the chat and we'll provide that access for you. Good afternoon, Wayne. Claire, good afternoon to you too. Shelley. As a quick reminder, before today's session, we did email you a PDF version of this slide deck so you can access it during this presentation and follow along. We hope you take advantage of that opportunity. As we're nearing the top of the hour, just one more reminder that if you are an ASL interpreter and need video access, please let us know in the chat so we can make you a video access. Keep the good afternoons coming in the chat. Willis, you are all muted. Yes, you are all muted. Please, you're welcome. Please keep us informed if you need any access in the chat. We look forward to our training today. And as I remind you, you did receive this deck ahead of time if you wanted to access it along. You've already heard me talk quite a bit. And hold on, I just realized that my screen is not completely. There we go. So let me now introduce myself. My name is Tom Yake, and I come from Deloitte in order to work with the division on implementing SHOARS and leading this change management process as we go ahead making SHOARS a new daily tool within the division and for division partners. I'm based out of New York City and have a lot of experience in Salesforce implementations and trainings, as well as other HR and human capital experience behind me. I'm excited to be here with you today. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Ryan, and my good friend, Caitlin. Ryan?
How's it going, everybody? My name is Ryan Baca, also with Deloitte. My focus has been on stakeholder engagement, and we are here today to ensure that this is a smooth transition as SHOARS goes to launch on November 29th. We will be here to support post-go live as well. So if you do have any questions for us, we are here to help in any way we can, and excited to be here with all of you.
And hello, everybody. Welcome. We are so excited to have you here to join us for this evening's training session for SHOARS. My name is Caitlin Hotchkiss. I am on the DHSP team, and I am the SHOARS project facilitator. So leading up to SHOARS, and especially once it goes live, you're going to be reaching out to me for the most part for support, questions, comments, feedback, etc. I'm here to support you anything you need, and we're excited to get started with today's training.
Thanks so much, Caitlin. One more request before we get started, and if you've heard me say before, I apologize. If you are an ASL interpreter, please let us know so we can give you video access, and keep the welcomes in the chat. While we keep wishing each other and connecting in the chat with a happy Thursday and a good afternoon, we'd like to ask you that for questions today, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen in Zoom. The Q&A feature allows us to track questions that are being asked and tie answers directly to your questions. We also have a feature that allows you to upvote any questions you may have, so you can keep on saying what questions need to be answered. We will answer all questions in the Q&A and bring up some live here in the webinar. We look forward to that. So please use the Q&A for any questions, but feel free to use the chat to keep on connecting with each other. Some quick housekeeping notes about today's training. First, throughout the training, we're going to have a variety of navigation checks, which are pretty much checks for understanding, asking you questions about what you are learning, and maybe slip in a fun question or two in there as well. We hope everyone will participate in these questions as they let us know how you all are interpreting the learning and where to provide additional support following today's training. As I mentioned before, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen to keep on asking questions. We want to make sure that everything is getting answered and your questions help us understand the needs of rolling out the system. At the end of this entire training process, we look forward to going through these questions to help design future learning opportunities. Today's webinar has three main goals. The first is we want you to be able to name how SHOARS will enhance your own relationship as a partner working with DHSP. We want to make sure that you're able to identify and navigate how to use SHOARS effectively depending on your user profile. And finally, we want you to leave this training recalling how to use SHOARS to take actions that you need to be completed when working with DHSP. To meet these objectives, we've built out our training into different chapters. We're going to start first with a SHOARS overview, including a quick video that lets you know what SHOARS actually is. We'll then go through the process of how to get access to SHOARS through MILogin, and then visit the homepage for SHOARS for the first time. We'll then go into three separate trainings around three functions you can take with SHOARS based on the training and events pillar, the material supplies and data requests, and grants and contracts. Finally, we'll wrap up with any closing. Along the way, our training is divided into three different unique experiences. We have the captain part of our training, which is when we actually bring you into SHOARS and how to become the own captain of your SHOARS journey. We have bridges that will talk about how your interaction with the division are going to change once SHOARS go live. And we have our compass, which is our navigation checks. Without any more delay, let's get into it. First, let's review about our SHOARS overview. To begin, SHOARS is a Salesforce business solution. For those that are unfamiliar, Salesforce is a customer relationship management program that different nonprofits, governments, and business can alter to meet their needs. It allows providers to better serve their clients by collecting and gathering information throughout the system in their cloud. Your experience with Salesforce, known as SHOARS, is going to be like shopping online. You'll be able to tell the system what you want, and hopefully will be able to provide what you need. Finally, as I mentioned a couple of times, SHOARS itself is a business solution. It is a Salesforce solution designed just for DHSP. SHOARS was designed with 5 unique traits. Employee management and communication and surveys are umbrellas of actions that are only available to DHSP staff at this time. DHPC staff and partners will both use the umbrella of actions related to training and events, to materials, supplies, and data requests, and grants and contracts. One of the biggest things to note is that SHOARS is about partner level information. There is no personal identification information within SHOARS. SHOARS is designed to communicate with you and your partner organizations or agency or department's greater needs. There is no individual information related to anyone's status within SHOARS. SHOARS is designed to manage the communication and working relationship between DHSP and partners across the state of Michigan. It replaces the myriad of emails that you may go back and forth with members of DHSP, and it contains partner and agency level information. There is another program under development by DHSP with a lot of work being done this upcoming winter called MyDash. MyDash will have personal identification information, or PII, not SHOARS. That's MyDash. So MyDash is more of the personal level. SHOARS is more about the partner and agency level. I want to make sure we're all clear that there's no personal information embedded into SHOARS. SHOARS is designed to improve the relationship between DHSP and external partners so that DHSP can more efficiently provide services for provide you services so you can work with Michiganders who are at risk or are living with HIV and STIs. With that, we're going to watch a quick video about what SHOARS is to bring you into this new system.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Hotchkiss, and I am the SHOARS Project Facilitator.
And it's me, Katie McCumber, the Director for the Division of STI and HIV Programs for the state of Michigan. We are here to get you excited for SHOARS. Well, not these SHOARS, but the SHOARS system that launches on November 29th. The SHOARS we do want to welcome you to is our division's new system built to improve the communication and resources between DHSP and you, our external partners. Our hope is that the new system will allow us to provide the services you need so that Michiganders who are at risk and or living with HIV and STIs get what they need in a more efficient and effective manner.
SHOARS, or the STI HIV Operations and Resource System, will allow DHSP to see a more complete picture of our collective work throughout the state. SHOARS will allow us to track your requests and therefore be able to meet your full needs more than before.
Our intent is that SHOARS becomes the one solution for you, our external partners, to reach out and get support, materials, and programming from the division. No longer will you have to search through emails and contacts to get what you need to better provide for your communities. All you need to do is log on to SHOARS. Caitlin, can you walk us through how SHOARS will work?
I'd be happy to, Katie. SHOARS will launch with the ability for you to manage your grants with the state, sign up and attend training and events, request materials, supplies, and data, and receive more targeted updates and communication from the division.
Oh, that's certainly a lot, Caitlin, but let's dive deeper into each of those functions.
First, SHOARS will be the place in which you provide updates to DHSP on all your contract and grant spending. You'll be able to apply for contract amendments and experience a more streamlined process. SHOARS will be the place where you respond to event invitations, make requests for additional events, and request event support. It will allow our division to track your response, allowing us to better predict your needs. Whether you're requesting pamphlets, condoms, or data, SHOARS will be your place to go. Once again, our division will be able to track your material and supplies requests, so we know how to better support you to serve your communities. Lastly, DHSP will be able to communicate more efficiently with targeted distribution lists to push updates, events, and surveys, so you get the information you most need when you most need it.
These all sound like great benefits.
They sure do, Katie.
Be on the lookout for communications about SHOARS in the coming weeks. On November 18th, we will be offering a live interactive training on how you can use this tool from the day it goes live. We look forward to this transition and appreciate all the hard work everyone has put into the design and development of this important system. It will all be worth it. Get excited.
Remember, SHOARS launches on November 29th. Until then, we'll see you on these shores.
I hope you all enjoyed and had a laugh during that fun video. And you're a little bit clearer on what SHOARS is. We're now going to begin the process of how, starting the 29th, you can get access to SHOARS. The first step along the way is MILogin access. We're going to go through each of these steps one by one to make sure that you are ready to go when it comes to SHOARS. There are 4 steps required to make sure you have the right access to SHOARS. The first is that you will create an account with MILogin. If you already have a MILogin account, you do not need to create another one. But for those that do not yet have an account, this will be the time to do so. You will then request access to SHOARS through MILogin. Following that, you will finally have access to the SHOARS website, and you'll first complete the user registration form within SHOARS. Once that registration form within SHOARS is complete, you'll be able to click and submit the request access button form in SHOARS. Let's start with how to create a MILogin account. As a reminder, if you already have a MILogin account, you do not have to create another one. You can just use that to log into MILogin. For those that do need to create a MILogin account, first go to the website for MILogin for third parties. Following this training and leading to the 29th, we will share that link with you in an email. Begin the sign up process by entering the word sign up and clicking on it. From there, you'll be taken to a form in which you'll have to provide some personal information: your first and last name, your email address, your work phone number, and answer the verification question at the bottom of the page. This makes sure that you're not a robot. You want to make sure that there are no robots entering SHOARS. After that, click Next. Once you click Next, you'll first be asked to create a username and a password. Your username must begin with your last name, your first initial, and then 4 random digits. Your password itself must follow best password techniques. Be at least 8 characters in length, have at least 3 of the following, including an uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number, or a special character, and is not something that is also used in your username. After you create that, you will then click Next. You'll be asked to decide on what security feature you want to add to your account. We recommend using the security questions as the best way to add a layer of security to your account. This way, when you're on the website, you can just answer the questions and have access right away. You'll have to select 4 questions that you will have to give answers to. You also have the opportunity to add a security layer by getting a text message or SMS or an email. If you choose to do this option, please provide either your email address or a phone number in which you can receive a text message. After you choose your security option and complete the information needed, please click Create an Account. And that is how you first get your MILogin account. Once you get the MILogin account, you will then be able to request access to the link to SHOARS. The first time you log in with your MILogin account, you will be taken to this page. If this is your second or subsequent times logging into MILogin, you'll have to navigate to your home page itself. Within this page, you'll need to click the words Request Access that are into your link. Click on that link and it will take you to a portal to request access to any system. In that portal itself, you will search for STI HIV Operations and Resource System. Now, the screenshot I am showing you does have the words SIT and UAT after it. Once this goes live on November 29th, it will not have those words and you will just see STI HIV Operations and Resource System, or SHOARS. Click on that and it will be labeled under the NDHSH logo. You'll then be asked to agree to the terms and conditions, agree to them, and then click Request Access. After you click Request Access, enter your email address and phone number, and you'll be notified with a pop-up screen that says Success. After you submit your request to SHOARS, an email will be generated on your behalf. From there, you'll have access to SHOARS within minutes, if not immediately. So look forward to that. Once you have access to SHOARS, you then need to go back to MILogin to get into SHOARS. Now, use the username and password that you came up with. Click Login, and you'll be taken to a list of all applications that you have asked for access from the state. If you have programs already, you'll have a more populated field. But if SHOARS is your first program, you'll just have SHOARS listed. Again, under the banner of Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, you'll find the STI HIV Operations and Resource System. You'll click that and you'll be taken to another terms and condition page. Every time you go to SHOARS, you'll have to acknowledge and agree to all terms and conditions. Once you click the Agree Acknowledge, you'll be taken into SHOARS. The first time you are in SHOARS, you'll receive a pop-up for your user registration form. This is to make sure that all your contact information in SHOARS is correct. To finish this form, you'll need to provide the following: your first and last name, your email address, your agency or partner organization's street, city, county, state, and zip code, your partner's name and your agency's affiliation's name or your position with that agency and affiliation, whether it's a Department of Health, whether it's a department at a university or a community-based organization, and the area that you're involved in. What type of work are you involved in so we can make sure that you are getting exactly what you need by having access to SHOARS. After you complete that form, you'll be taken to the SHOARS homepage. Now, we'll take you there in a jiffy, but first, I want to make sure you know the importance of using the Request Access button. The first time you're on the homepage, you must click the Request Access button to get additional access to things within SHOARS. From the start, you will have the opportunity to register for events and submit materials requests within SHOARS. But if you are working with grants and contracts, it's incredibly important for you to click this Request Access button. Once you do so, a questionnaire will start up that will ask if you need access to grants and contract management work. If you do, click yes. If no, continue down that path. If you click yes, you'll be asked if you're an approver or a sub-recipient. We are going to demonstrate the sub-recipient part of this questionnaire. After you click your sub-recipient, you'll be asked if you're an organization lead. There can only be one per organization in SHOARS, so make sure that's what it is. And you'll be also provide the opportunity to ask if you're a program manager or program team manager. SHOARS is not replacing eGrams. eGrams process will still be covered later in this presentation. SHOARS is just the place for you to submit requests to your amendments. We'll be following up with that very shortly. Funny you mentioned eGrams, Andrew. You must make sure that the information you provide is linked to what is in your eGrams account, including your organization, your program, and your project title. This must all match for you to continue in the system. Select your organization, program, and project title. Make sure they all match to what is in eGrams, and then you'll find you have the Submit Success button. The big thing we want to cover in this section and leading into the rest of our training is that SHOARS is designed to be the place that DHSP partners go to work with the division on a variety of different activities. And there'll be more added as the years go by, as SHOARS is dynamic and continues to evolve. This will be where you go to request materials, supplies, and data. It's where you'll submit your amendment request and begin the approval process. And it is also where you'll go to register for an event, conference, or training. There's more to come with SHOARS, and this is just the beginning. I'm now going to pass it to my colleague, Ryan, to take us to our first navigation check. Ryan?
Thank you, Tom. And before we get started, everybody, I do just want to say, so these navigation checks, there will be some questions where we ask you to type in the chat, your responses. And so just be aware of that. Also, the navigation checks, when you input an answer, it is anonymous. So we just want to engage with all of you and make sure that you are retaining the information that we are presenting on today. So with that being said, let's get into the first round of 2 questions. The first question is, which security option do we recommend using when creating a MILogin account? Is it A, mobile, so text message, B, your email, C, security questions, or D, all of the above? The second question is, well, we've talked about gaining access to SHOARS, but let's talk about the SHOARS in Michigan a little bit. What is the best shore to visit in Michigan? Is it A, Lake Michigan, Wolverine Lake, B, C, Great Traverse Bay, or D, other? And again, if it's other, write in the chat. We would love to hear your responses. We'll give you guys about a minute to gather your answers, and then we'll debrief on all of them. Awesome. Looks like 60% have participated so far. This is great. Lake Superior, awesome. All right, we'll give you guys about 10 more seconds. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, it looks just about right. Perfect. So now let's go into, not a shore, but Torch Lake. I need to look at that one up, Torch Lake. Okay, so let's go into the questions. So number 1, which security option do we recommend using when creating a MILogin account? So it did see that a lot of people selected D, but the correct answer is C. And so the reason for this is, for one, all 3 options, security questions, email, and mobile, are all options that are, correct. But the easiest one we recommend using is security questions, because at that point, you don't have to leave the system. So we highly recommend using security questions when creating your MILogin account. And then for question 2, well, it looks like Lake Michigan won, which is awesome, but we did have some great other recommendations in the chat. So that being said, Tom, let's go back to you.
Thanks so much, Ryan. To that one person that mentioned Wolverine Lake, that's where I spent a lot of my high school and college years. So thank you very much for also giving shout out to Wolverine Lake. That may have been a personal question, but I threw it out there. Now let's talk about general usability when it comes to SHOARS. In this section, we are going to talk about user hats. And then we'll actually visit the SHOARS homepage. The reason why we wanted you to make sure you answer those questions and request access is that is how you align to which hat or user hat you'll be assigned. User hats will give you a different version of SHOARS for you to look at and different ways you can interact with the division. As an external reviewer, you'll have the most access as a partner to the org, as you'll both be able to submit and review all amendment requests. Organization leads, which there can only be one per organization, will have the ability to review and read any amendment or grant tied to that organization. Program managers, please stay the same. They'll be able to see what programs they are attached to and be able to view and edit them. And program team members will be able to just look at the programs that they're part of. As a basic function, all SHOARS members are event attendees. This allows you to request registration for an event, as well as submit any materials, supply, or data request. That is the basic user hat for SHOARS. For this training, we will be using the external reviewer hat. So when you log onto SHOARS, you may see a different program altogether. Now, let's get to the SHOARS homepage, the big reveal. When you log on to SHOARS, most of you will see a homepage that's similar to this. As I mentioned, depending on your user hat, you'll see the amendment or you will not see the amendments that are listed right here. Let's go over the different components. First is the SHOARS ribbon. The SHOARS ribbon has links to different tabs within SHOARS for you to review a few messages back and forth. The next one you'll see is the search function, where you can search for particular questions. And the last one is your user identification to make sure that you are the right user you use using SHOARS. The other piece of the homepage is this component that has the request life cycles. The request life cycles is a way for you to know what the status is of the requests you make. Now that you are going to have transparency into the status of your requests, we want to make sure that you're able to go ahead and see what step that is within the request. So for instance, if you make a data request, you can see if your status is listed as fulfilled, you know that it's complete, versus if it's listed as in progress, means the division is currently working on it. We'll get back to you shortly. Another component on the dashboard that everyone will have is the calendar. Here on the calendar is where you'll be able to register and request registration to events. You can look at it, see what events are available, and request that registration as needed. If you do need to make a materials and information request, you will do so with the button that says Start Materials and Information Request, as well as you'll be able to track them right here on your homepage under Materials and Information Request History. Finally, if you do have amendment access, you'll be able to submit an amendment request under the Submit Amendment Request button, and then view the status of your amendments in the box underneath. If you do have to approve an amendment as an external approval, that will also be right here on your homepage at the top of the middle column. Let's go to SHOARS and see what this looks like. So here we are now in SHOARS. We begin by looking at the SHOARS ribbon up top. This is where we have links to different tabs within SHOARS if we need to get more information. A search function right here where I can search for some information if I need it, if I know my amendment number. And then I can just make sure that this is my own account. You'll notice underneath that because I am linked to an amendment, it is the amendment I'm linked to in eGrams. So therefore, this automatically populates to show what my organization, program, and project are. If I have multiple organizations and projects, I can click the View All button. Here's the calendar. The events themselves are all clickable. I have my request lifecycle chart here to know what the process and where we are in the request. And I also have here where I can see my materials information requests. I have 5 requests that have been made. I can start a new one, which we will later on, and look at my amendments and see the amendments I need to approve. I'm now going to pass it back to Ryan to do our next navigation check. Ryan?
Thank you, Tom. So everyone, we have 2 questions for this section. And the first one being, where do you go to track your submitted materials and information requests? Is that A, your user profile, B, the calendar, C, the dashboard component, or D, MILogin? And then we have a little fun one for you. What is the best type of hat? Is it A, beanie, B, baseball cap, C, program team member, or D, fedora? I'll give you guys about another minute just to answer all these questions. And if there are some hands up in the chat, we do recommend using the Q&A function if you have any questions. We will answer all questions in there so we can keep track of all our answers. Thank you. Wonderful. We'll give it about, let's see, how many we got here? Let's give it about like 10 more seconds. We have 68 of you who've participated. So let's see if we can get that engagement a little higher. And if you don't know the correct answers for any of these questions, just plop one in there. Let's engage. Everything here is anonymous. So I think with that being said, let's go ahead and close this poll and see what the answers are. Awesome. So for question 1, where do you go to track the submitted materials and information requests? It looks like 87% did select C, and that is the correct answer. You are going to go to the dashboard component on the homepage where you can track your submitted requests. And then for question 2, well, we tried to be funny with this one, but we did put C as the program team member, just because that was one of the hats that we have for usability in SHOARS. So yeah, back to you, Tom. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Ryan. My answer would have been a baseball cap, but the truth is I don't look great in them, or people tell me I don't. But I do have a very nice collection of them, mostly Yankee hats, though. Okay, we are now actually going to take a 5-minute break as we've hit the midpoint of our training today. So if you don't mind, take that 5 minutes break. We'll come back at 4:40 Eastern. I'll put that in the chat, but we'll see you again at 4:40. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're happy to begin the second part of our training after that 5-minute break. We'll get to your questions in the Q&A shortly. And please use the Q&A function to ask any questions you may have. We're so excited to have that function and that capability to do that. So please go ahead and asking those questions there. Additionally, please don't raise your hand. Everyone is muted because we had such a large group this morning and such a large group this afternoon. So please make sure to use the Q&A function if you have a question, and we are sure to reach out to you. Please do not raise your hand, as we will not be responding to raised hands. Okay, we are going to get started with the second half. First, let's do what you can do under training events and conferences. The main function here is that this is where you'll go to request registration to any training event or conference. How you will do that is first by navigating to the calendar within SHOARS. Once in SHOARS, you can pick the date that you want your event is happening on. You can click that, and you'll also be able to review any other training or conferences that's being offered by the division. Once you just select what event or conference you want to attend, click on it. When you do, you'll be brought to your first registration page. Here, you'll click register to continue registering for the event. You will then select the number of attendees. Most likely, the number of attendees you're registering is 1. If you do have multiple attendees, you can enter them here, but we're looking for 1 as the least number of attendees and the most frequent number of attendees that you will supply. You will then click continue to move on in the registration process. Once you do, you'll be brought to your first registration form page. Here, you'll submit your first name, your last name, and your email address. You'll then click continue to move on in the registration process. Once on that page, you'll be able to review all information and add in your affiliation organization if you would like. Click register and you will complete the process. Once you do complete the process, you'll be given the pop-up screen that says that we have received your registration request. The Trainings and Communications Unit at the DHSP will be reviewing all requests for registration to make sure the right participants are attending the right events. When they confirm your registration for the event, they will send you an email with event details, such as where the Zoom link is, as well as any pre-training materials and requirements. Once again, when you register for an event, you're requesting registration. The actual registration will be confirmed with an email once the training and events team confirms that you are attending the right event. Let's go to SHOARS to see how this works. So here I am again on the SHOARS homepage, and I see my calendar right here on the side. As a note, if I wanted to know, if I knew the name of the event I'm registering for, I can search for it. If I also want to see what type of events are available, I can also search by category. And if I want to, I can also view the event as a list. However, I know the event I want to attend is on the 26th. It's a Thanksgiving event. It says it's a test Thanksgiving event, even though Thanksgiving is the day before. I'm cooking Thanksgiving on the 27th. So this is a chance for me to learn how to make sure my turkey is the best. I will then click on that. I'm now able to see information pertaining to the event. And to move on, I can either click register down here, or I can click register up at the top. I'm going to click it on top. Once I'm there, I see there are 8 tickets remaining. I then will choose how many tickets I want. I want 1 ticket for myself. I'll then click continue. I will then add in my name, my email address, my supervisor's name, Caitlin, it's you this time, her email address, And then if I had anything else, I would upload that. I hit continue. And then my contact information one more time. I will add my affiliation. I am with Deloitte. We'll view this information one more time, and then I will click register. It is now submitting this information to the DHSP event. And while it's validating, I will now see the screen that my order is complete. I am not yet confirmed for my event. I'm confirmed that I have submitted a request to register for this event. Now let's go to Ryan with a navigation check. Ryan?
Thanks, Tom. All right, so for this section, we again have two questions. And the first one's going to be, what should you do after registering for an event using the calendar? Is that going to be A, wait for the email confirming your registration, B, email the event supervisor, C, save the event on your calendar, D, all of the above? And then for fun, question 2 is, what is the best type of event? So is it A, a football game, B, a concert, C, a training and/or conference, D, other? And of course, there's going to be other events that we all enjoy. So go ahead and put those in the chat. We would love to see some of your responses. Family events. Yep, Willie. Awesome. What kind of family event? I would say for me, like currently, so I'm based out of Denver, Colorado, and my parents are coming in this weekend. And so taking my dad to his first NBA game. So we're going to go see the Denver Nuggets, which I'm very excited about. So I'd say that's my best type of event right now. Well, that's funny. Awesome. Perfect. So let's see what these answers are. So again, what should you do after registering for an event? So after you click register for the event on the calendar, you are perfect. Yeah, letter A, you're going to wait for the email confirming your registration. So once you've completed the register button, like once you've registered using the button itself and completed the flow, again, you want to wait for that email confirming your registration. That will have the event details, the links, anything required, but just wait for that before. And then for question 2, oh, yep, absolutely. I mean, concerts are my favorite thing as well. Been able to see a lot of great ones, but with this question 2, yeah, training under conferences is what's related to this, but concerts are awesome. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Ryan. Oh, I have a hard time with that. I like so many different types of events, but I will say attending a football game in the big house is probably one of my favorite events I'll ever do, especially when they play Michigan State, even though I've never seen Michigan beat Michigan State. Moving on, so we don't have too much of a rivalry question here. Let's now go through the process for submitting a material, supply, and data request. In this section, we are going to talk about how you will submit requests for materials, information, and data. Each of these have different forms, as well as the opportunity to review and amend your requests. First, I am going to talk about how to submit, review, and amend a request. To do this, you're going to click on the Start Materials and Information Request button. Doing this will have your first pop-up window with a question. Are you looking to submit a new request, view a previously submitted request, or update a request that has already been submitted? Select which action you're looking to do. If you select a new request, you'll be asked if it's a data, access, technical assistance, or supply order. We're going to cover all of these forms individually later on. If you want to update a request, we will ask you to email back the email that confirmed your request. If you are asking to review your requests, you'll be taken to a list view or a view of all your requests within SHOARS and be able to examine them at that portal. This is why we have the request lifecycle chart within SHOARS. As you review your requests, you will see the status of each of these requests. This is designed to make sure you know exactly where it is in the process and can follow along. We will be going through how you can review the status in just a bit. Data requests. So the first type of request you can submit within SHOARS is for data. Here, the division is looking for any data that you're looking for, and we ask you to be as specific as possible, letting us know the parameters of the data set you have, and letting us know even how you want to format it, so we can serve you best in getting the data request. We ask that you at least give this request 2 weeks in advance. An access request. As you know, there are many different systems that are linked to DHSP that you yourself may use. This includes eGrams or AFRAM or MIDAP. We are going to have the access request form within SHOARS for these access requests. This is important to note. If you already have access to these programs, you do not need to request access again. There is no connection between all of this and those systems themselves. You don't need to go to SHOARS to access these programs. SHOARS is not a portal to all these other types of programs. It's not a portal. What this is a way to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable because of all the information that are in these programs. So we have this form here so we can track a little bit of who has access to all this information. As you know, a lot of these programs have a lot of confidential and sensitive information. SHOARS allows us to protect you and ourselves when we know who has access to this information. So you don't use this form as a portal to gain access. You use this as a way to just make sure who has access. And again, if you already have access, you don't need to re-request it or reapply. The technical assist form is provided so you can ask any specific questions you need help with. The form itself will allow you to, one, find the information you're looking for a little bit easier, providing links to phone numbers and emails to do so, and also allow you to tailor your request if you have a question that is not being answered. In this case, we'll even ask how you want your question answered. Is it by a phone call? Is it by an email or anything else? The sorry, it's been a long day, my friends. The technical assistance request form is your place to go to get more information. Finally, as Caitlin's character mentioned in the video, SHOARS is the place you'll go to request any materials you need, such as condoms or testing kits, or also any brochures that you may use. In this form, you'll be asked to provide what you need exactly, which material and supply, what brochure you may want to order, and then where you want it delivered. This is the place to go to get any materials you need from the division. Let's go to SHOARS again to see how this all comes together. So here we are again in SHOARS. The first thing we want to do is let's see what happens when I view a previously submitted request and resubmit. I click next, and it's going to take me to a list of all my requests. Here, I can click on my requests and see what their statuses are. So for instance, this request for access is currently under review. When I go back to the home page, I'm able to use this chart to see that if an access request is under review, means it is just getting started. Let's say I now want to go ahead and view a previously submitted request and resubmit. Update a request I already submitted. When I click this, it will tell me to email the confirmation email I received about this request. Now, let's go ahead and look at new requests. Whoa. Click the one there. So first I click submit a new request, and here I'm able to see the data, access, technical assistance, and supply order form. The first is a data request. As I mentioned earlier, the division really wants to make sure they can get you the data you need, if you need data. So to do so, we are going to ask you a series of detailed questions about that data, including if it's for internal or external use, what the project is for, why you need the data, what type of data you are asking for, and then finally, the dates you need and any specific location information. Let's say I just want to know about information for Wayne County. What does that look like? We'll ask if you're from a healthcare network you want your data to come from, any other demographics of the population, and finally, what's the deadline? As I mentioned, we want at least 2 weeks. If you do need your data submitted in a particular format, you can also submit that to the division as well. In your access request form, again, this is not a portal. This is just where you go if you need new access. If you already have access, you're good to go. And where we can track where people are requesting access from moving forward. You'll be seeing what systems you need to request that for, as well as explain why you need it. Again, if you already have access, you don't need to re-request it. And this is not a portal where you go to access these systems. The technical assistance request form is where you can get more information. For instance, let's say you're seeking assistance with a service such as MyDAP. By clicking this button, you'll be given links to all the different help desks and all the different phone numbers and all the different online pages that can answer your question, just in case you didn't know where it was. If you still have other questions, you're able to fill them out and provide how you want information to be received. Finally, the supply order request form is pretty straightforward. Here, you'll choose what supplies you actually need, their account, and then provide the information in which you need it to be mailed. And that's how you submit a materials, supply, and information request. I'm now going to pass it to Ryan for our next navigation chat.
Thank you, Tom. All right, for this section, we have 2 questions as well. So the first being, which of the following is a type of request form used to access programs like MyDAP? Is it A, a communications request, B, a technical assistance request, C, an access request, or D, a data request? And question 2 is, what is the name for the humanoid form of a sculpture made during cold condensation events? Is it an A, a scarecrow, B, a gingerbread house, C, a bread sculpture, or D, a snow person? Let's see what these answers are. Perfect. It looks like 35% have participated so far. Let's give it about another 45 seconds. Pull up the timer. Wonderful. Perfect. Yeah, it does look like so far a lot. 73% of participants have selected C as a correct answer for question 1. And of course, selected D as a correct answer for question 2. Let's give it about 10-ish more seconds. Wonderful. Awesome. So yeah, let's go into question 1. Which of the following is a type of request form used to access programs like MyDAP, to gain access to programs like MyDAP? The correct answer, yes, is C, access request. And so again, there will be a list of systems like MyDAP, Careware, eGrams, just to showcase on there. And so again, it'll not be like a portal, but you do have to request the form used, it would be access. Thank you. Question number 2 is, what is the name for the humanoid form of a sculpture made during cold condensation events? And yeah, absolutely, it's D, snow person. Perfect. Sweet. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks so much, Ryan. I mean, while it snows, I'm sure you can make gingerbread house and bread sculpture, but we weren't looking for you to understand that we said a humanoid form, which should give us a snow person. Now, again, if you are really excited for tomorrow's semifinal of the Great British Bake Off, then maybe a bread sculpture is what you're looking for. Our last action we're going to review here within SHOARS is about grants and contracts. Here, we're going to cover the amendment approval cycle, how to submit an amendment request, and then how to review pending and approved amendments. First, let's look at the amendment approval cycle. To start, after you identify the amendment, you as a subrecipient, the amendment you need to your grant and contract, you will submit that in SHOARS. Once it's submitted within SHOARS, DHSP will go through their own internal approval process. Following the conclusion of that approval process, it will then go into the eGrams approval process. At the end of that process, you will either have access to your funds or your funds will be denied. SHOARS allows us to cover both the first step, submitting the approval, and two, the second step, making sure that the DHSP can approve all amendments needed. eGrams is not going away. eGrams is still an important part of this process, but for now, this is covering parts 1 and 2 of the amendment approval process. Now to actually talk about how you will submit an amendment. First, click the Submit Amendment Request button. Once you do, this will begin the amendment process. From there, you'll determine what type of amendment request you are submitting. You'll be able to submit a budget revision or no net change, a face sheet, or a work plan. You must again make sure that the amendment you are submitting matches to the information linked to your name in eGrams. It must match what your profile is linked to for organization, program, and project title. If you're submitting a budget revision, face sheet, or work plan, you do not need to submit any other information. However, if you're doing a budget increase, we will ask you for the increase or the decrease amount in your budget. You cannot submit another request for an amendment if there's already one pending. You can only submit if there's no other request that is currently pending. If you ask for a new project, you are able to submit a project title and the amount in which you need for your next project. Let's go to SHOARS to see how this works. So again, I'm going to click the Submit Amendment Request. I'm going to take note that the organization, program, and project that are attached to my name. And then we're going to click Submit Amendment Request. Once I do, I can only search for organizations that are attached to my name. So that would be Helping Hands, the program, which is Animals, and the project title, which is Passion Chasers. I can only submit for this project, program, and organization. Again, if I click Budget Revision, if I click Face Sheet, if I can click Work Plan, I can just put a reason for request, don't have to provide any other information. If I select budget increase or decrease, I need to say the increase or the decrease amount. Let's say I need an additional $50. And the reason why is new pets. You'll notice once I click Save that I already have an amendment request attached to this grant. So therefore, I cannot submit another one until that one is approved or rejected. But I am able to submit a new project if I wanted to. And this project's title is going to be Tiger King. And I want $100 for Tiger King. If I submit that, it is success and I'm able to do it. Now, let's review pending and approved amendments, how we can see what is currently in the system. The first step we need to do is to go to the Amendments tab at the top of the SHOARS ribbon. After we open the Amendments tab, you'll be taken to a list of all amendments that you have submitted. Select which ones you would like to examine. Once you do, you will see the status at the top. If it's draft, if it's approved, if it's waiting for eGrams processing, here you'll be able to see where your amendment is in the process. You will also be able to see what information you entered associated with this amendment request. So for this particular amendment request, you can see that I've requested new money or it's for a new passion project. You will not be able to edit this request while in SHOARS. You must wait for it to be approved or denied before you can do anything. Let's go to SHOARS again to see how that works. Okay, again, let's start with home. I can also actually see my amendments right here where they are in the process. I see I have 4 pending amendments. I'm also able to click the Amendments tab at the top. I see a list of all my amendments. My first one, right here I can view, is still in draft status, so it has not been approved at all. As for a new passion project, and I can see that I requested an additional $150. So I'm waiting for that to be approved. Let's go back to Ryan with the next navigation check.
Thanks, Tom. All right, everybody. So we do have 2 more questions for this section. These are the last 2 navigation checks for our webinar today. So with that being said, question 1 is, to request access to approved grant amendments, which must be true? Is it A, your grant must have a balance of $0, B, your user information must match what is in eGrams, C, your request must include a budget proposal in SHOARS, or D, your grant is past due and has expired? Question 2 is, which step is required to get your amendment approved? Is it A, you submit an amendment request in SHOARS, B, your amendment is approved through the division, C, your amendment is approved through eGrams, or D, all of the above? Give you guys about like a minute here as well to answer these questions. Awesome. So we've had about 44 responses so far. Let's see if we could get some more. We'll give it about 15 more seconds. Wonderful. So yeah, let's see. So the answers to question 1, to request access to approved grant amendments, which must be true? The correct answer for this one is B. Your user information must match what is in eGrams. So yeah, it did look like 74% of you guys got that question. So wonderful, absolutely. Question 2 is, which step is required to get your amendment approved? And so is it A, you submit an amendment request in SHOARS, B, your amendment's approved through the division, C, it's approved through eGrams, or D, all of the above? So the correct answer for this is D, all of the above. And just as a reminder, it does look like 61% did select D, all of the above, but we did see some who selected A. So just as a reminder, you guys do have the access to the deck to look back at the slide that goes over the process. So if there's ever anything that you have questions on, you can always refer back to the deck to help refresh your memory. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Appreciate that. Well, that concludes our formal training portion. We are so happy you were able to join us this evening. We are going to be able to wrap up, giving you time back, or if you need, ask some more time for more questions. In the future, you will be receiving support videos that will walk you through what's actually in SHOARS and help you navigate this on your own. They will be coming your way once SHOARS goes live. We also ask that you email us at mdhhs-shores-support@Michigan.gov. Send us an email with any additional questions or even request some one-on-one support. We're here to provide that for you in the first 2 weeks of Go Live and the first 2 weeks of the new year, 2022. As a reminder, SHOARS goes live Monday, November 29th, 2021 at 10 a.m. in the morning. We hope that all participants of this morning and this evening's training sessions will sign up for SHOARS by 6 p.m. We know that there are still a few questions in the Q&A. We are working to get you the exact right answers from members of the Grants and Contracts team. So hold your horses. We will be answering those questions. While we look to get those answers to those questions, answer this question for us, will you? When do you plan on registering for SHOARS? Do you plan on registering the week of November 29th, right after go live? Sometime in December when you're in the SHOARS spirit? The week of January 3rd, it's a new year, new SHOARS, or don't know yet, but you know you will do it before January 6th. When are you looking forward to registering? Okay. Well, we are so happy that so many of you are looking forward to registering the first week SHOARS goes live. Can't wait to have you on these SHOARS. But for the rest of you, we'll see you by January 6th. That, like I said, concludes our formal training. We now have some time for open Q&A. Please feel free to use the Q&A button. If you don't have any questions, you are more than happy to drop off the call at this time. But feel free to stick around and ask some questions. Leon, I believe we are working to get the exact answer to your question, and we are making sure that some of the Grants and Contracts team can weigh in. If for some chance we do not provide you the question today, Leon, we will make sure that you have it in the FAQ. Zaina, and I apologize if I mispronounced that. I will go back to the email address information so you can write it down. You're more than welcome. Okay, Leon, and the second question, I am going to just let you know, we will get back to you with your answers and include them in an FAQ. We just want to make sure that we are getting you the right business process answer, and we do want to confirm that with members of our Grants and Contracts team. So we apologize. We don't have those answers right now, but we will have them moving forward. SHOARS stands for, I can answer that live. SHOARS stands for the STI HIV Operations and Resource System. We made an acronym work. In fact, on the next slide, I think I have it underneath the logo. Thank you for that question. Okay, if you have any other questions, please feel free to use the Q&A. If you don't have any questions, we are wrapping up, so you're more than welcome to log off. Willis, the website you register is MILogin. We will send that information out once the system is live with all the links. So we will be providing that for you in an email. You will be getting that as much as possible. Great question though, Willis. Look for that email on the 29th. Hi, Leon. Thank you. Okay, we will definitely get those answers for you, Leon, in the FAQ. We'll be following up with you on that. We just want to make sure we get you the exact right answer and don't want to answer from assumptions, even though we think we know. We just want to make sure we're correct. Okay, with that, I'm going to officially close our Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for your attention, your participation in today's training. We wish you all the best and have a wonderful night. Stay well and stay healthy. Bye now.